What's up, fight fans? This is Kurtoville with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Eddie Hearn. Get this, Eddie Hearn names the best heavyweight in the world. And he said that I'm not interested in Usyk. Now, he was paraphrasing Tyson Fury. He said, I'm not interested in Joshua. He's a gym sweeper. And he said, well, if you're not, who on earth are you interested in? Is it the YouTubers? He said, the disappointment for me is I love greatness. I love sport. I love seeing someone produce greatness in the sport. And Fury is the best heavyweight in the world at the moment. I think he could beat Alexander Usyk. He could fight Anthony Joshua. If he beats him, he would go down as one of the best heavyweights of our generation. He'd have beat Klitschko, Wilder, Usyk, AJ. He'd be the undisputed heavyweight champion. Those are the words of Eddie Hearn, and let me counterpunch. I like how Eddie says he could fight Joshua, okay? He didn't say he could necessarily beat Joshua because he has to be careful with the wording of disrespect because he knows he represents Anthony Joshua. However, if that's how you feel, okay, you shouldn't say, because he's really saying it without saying it. Like, oh, well, he won't necessarily come out and say he will beat Joshua. But he says definitely, I think he could beat Usyk. He could fight Anthony Joshua, okay? And if he beats him, he would go down as the best. He'd had beaten Klitschko, Wilder, Usyk, and AJ, the undisputed heavyweight champion. Well, here's the thing. He's really 3 out of 4. And what I mean by that, well, who's the third? Well, you have Usyk, you have Joshua, and you have Klitschko. You said, well, what do you mean? He's already beat Wilder, he's already beat Klitschko. Okay, well, here's the problem. He didn't defend his belts against Klitschko. The Klitschko, I feel, that came for the rematch was going to destroy Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury knew he was not in any type of shape to fight Vladimir Klitschko. I mean, yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't in any type of shape to fight him. He decided to do cocaine and become a crackhead. A cokehead. And besides, go in and defend the belts that he got. Okay? And that would have been for the WBA and the WBO because the IBF was stripped 9 days later. Okay, if I'm not mistaken. But for Eddie Hearn to say those things about Tyson Fury, sure, it's a disappointment. But for Eddie to say, I think Tyson Fury's the best heavyweight in the world, is not solving the problem. He's becoming a part of the problem, Eddie is. What do I mean by that? I mean, there's enough Tyson Fury fans, okay, that will let you think, based on whatever the fuck, that Tyson Fury will beat Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. And what I've learned about boxing, okay, this is what I've learned. If you put a fighter in there with enough guys, he will be beaten. At least once. Okay? Now, who's to say he can't win in a rematch? I didn't say he couldn't win in a rematch, but I think someone can beat him on any given night if he takes the challenge. Just like he did Klitschko, people. He beat Klitschko. But I don't think he would have beat Klitschko again because Klitschko is pretty damn good in rematches. Whereas Tyson Fury ran from that rematch. He didn't want no part of Klitschko. And Anthony Joshua basically cleaned up his dirty work. He basically did what Terrence Crawford did for Manny Pacquiao when Manny Pacquiao got roughed up and toughed up and had an upset loss to Jeff Hearn. Well, Terrence Crawford went in and did what he really, Manny Pacquiao was supposed to have done. Just like Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury was a guy that did use his legs and stuff like that and boxed and used these awkward angles to confuse Klitschko, okay? But I don't think he would have done that again with Klitschko, and I think he doesn't believe he would have done that again. I think that all has everything to do with confidence. I think that same person that decided to do cocaine, people, instead of train for a Klitschko fight that he was confident to win, I think he didn't do that for the same reason he's not fighting Alexander Usyk and he's not fighting guys like Joshua or Joe Joyce. He's not taking those fights because he doubts himself. Now, this is something that he would probably never admit, but look, For what he's making against Francis Ngannou, he would have made more when the Usyk fight. So why in the hell, if that's the case, like his father, John Fury, and I'll do another video about this, but they say that Francis Ngannou is a more dangerous fighter. He has a better chance. Okay, they said that shit. But overall, he's only getting $40 million. So you think for taking less money for a harder guy is a better choice? You are smoking crack if you think that. Or you're just scared. But back to Eddie Hearn, he's like, well, I think he's the best in the world. That's not helping Tyson Fury challenge anybody. Here's the whole idea with Tyson Fury. You have to cripple his fan base. You have to give them doubt. And most importantly, you have to show Tyson Fury and convince Tyson Fury why he should fight these guys instead of fucking YouTubers and MMA guys. That's what you got to do with Tyson Fury. If you think or make statements like Eddie has said, being a rival promoter, I think he's the best in the world type shit, he will never fight those guys. Why? Because his fan base has already allowed him to feel like he can beat them without fighting them. And it makes me sick. And Eddie Hearn's not helping. Eddie Hearn should be like, well, he's ducking all these fighters. He's scared because he lacks confidence in himself. And he knows deep down inside he could lose and he doesn't want to lose. Because he wants to be like Mayweather, because he looks up to guys like that because they made and they did seemingly what they wanted to do in the sport of boxing. However, Floyd Mayweather fought so many fucking champions. In fact, more champions than anybody in a very, 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 very long time. Okay, so those guys, when Tyson Fury tries to jump on the Mayweather wannabe list, he needs to consider what Mayweather did before he was the guy that picked fights that he wanted to fight. And Tyson Fury ain't earned that by fighting fucking Klitschko and then 3 years later fighting Wilder to a draw and then fighting Wilder again and then fighting Wilder again. And then all of a sudden I'm the best fucking fighter in the world. That makes no sense. And it makes no sense for Eddie Hearn to sit there and say, oh, I think he's the best of this generation. How the fuck do we know? When you got dropped by a smaller southpaw Philly fighter named Steve Cunningham, that he even admitted Usyk is a super version of himself. So I'm sick of hearing people say that Tyson Fury is the best. He ain't proved it, and until he proves it, I'm not going to say it. I'm not even going to ponder on the idea. I'm not doing that no more because that's what we're hearing and seeing too much of in the sport of boxing, people talking instead of walking. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Eddie Hearn stating that Tyson Fury is the best fighter or heavyweight in the world. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!